welcome back to my next playthrough series. This time I'm going to be doing a 3-player game of Jamaica. It is a pirate-themed race game with some card management, some battling that happens, and generally it's just a race to see who can go around the island of Jamaica first, collecting gold bullion and paying food and what have you as you go, and having occasional battles when you run into other pirate ships. So very quickly for the setup, there are 12 cards, and these correspond to the pirate coves, each with a skull symbol, which gets one of these treasure tokens on it. And I'll explain how all this happens as we play. So we basically have 12 cards, and we're only going to need 9 of them. So we're going to shuffle these. We're going to draw 9. We're going to throw 3 in the box without looking at them. But let's first take a look at the cards. So of course the end of the game is all about who has the most gold and points. So there are positive treasure cards, so giving you plus gold. There are, I'll just skip over the special cards. There are cursed treasure cards that give minus points at the end of the game. And there are 4 special cards. We'll go over them quickly. This is the cannon, the Lady Beth, and it gives you +2 on the combat die when you are fighting. And we'll see that in action when it happens. We have the saber, which lets you re-roll 1 of the die rolls, either the attacker or the defender, but you have to accept the second result, and you can only re-roll 1 of them, and you have to do it, of course, immediately. There is the treasure map, which allows you to have 4 cards in your hand instead of the normal 3, and we'll show you that in a minute. And then there's an extra hold for your ship, cargo hold. It's the 6th one. Everyone gets a cargo ship or pirate ship that has 5 holds. This would give you an extra one. So just to do the setup, we'll do a little shuffling here, and then we're just going to take 3 cards, that one, this one, and oh, I don't know, that one there. They are no longer in this game, and these are going to go here for possible treasure hunting as the race goes on. So those 3 go back in the box. Nothing much happens. We have 2 dice here, and I'll explain. We have a morning phase and an afternoon phase. So I am going to be playing, you can see over here we have the red player, we have a yellow player, and the blue player. The red player is going to be me, and I'm going to do it from the perspective of me, so you're not going to see what the other 2 players are choosing. So I'm going to be playing John Rackham. And everyone has an identical set of cards, not this side obviously, but on this side, and they're very colorful, pirate themed, and if you put them all together they will form one great big picture, which is pretty cool. But the artwork, very nice, very colorful. There are symbols in the top left and in the top right, and they mean different things. This here is gunpowder, so there's when you load in the morning, this is the morning phase, the evening phase, and each card represents a day in the life of your pirate as you're racing around the island of Jamaica. So in the morning here you would be loading gunpowder, and in the evening you'd be loading food, and that's how that works. And this is gold. So you have gunpowder, food, and gold you can load. Then you have movement symbols. So this is going backwards, and this is going forwards. And you're wondering, well, what do all these have to do? It has to do with these 2 dice. So the captain is going to roll the 2 dice. He's going to decide what happens in the morning and what happens in the afternoon. So here we have a 5 and a 4. So you're going to look at your 3 cards and you're going to say, which card do I want to play? Do I want to play getting 5 food in the morning and 4 cannons in the afternoon? Or do I want to play moving 5 spaces in the morning and then 4 in the afternoon? So again, you're going to shuffle all of these cards together. Everyone's got an identical set, and you're going to draw 3 of them. So that's going to be your 3 starting cards. And so I will do that for the start of the game. And who are we playing against? Well, we're playing against the blue player, which is Samuel Bellamy. And so that's going to be our blue player. And our yellow pirate ship will be captained by Anne Bonny. So there we go. So let's take a look now over at the ship holds, and everyone's going to start the game with 3 food and 3 bullion. So the 3 gold bullion look like this, and they go into one of your 5 cargo holds. And you start with 3 food, which look like these tokens, and they also go in one of your 5 cargo holds. All right, and I guess very quickly on the map here you can see there's little pin symbols. These are harbors. If you land here, you must pay that much gold bullion, and there are these white diamonds or squares, depending on kind of how you're looking at them. When you land on this space, you must pay that much in food. So this space here would cost you 2 food. The idea is you're trying to get around the island to be able to pay for the places you land, moving forward and being the first one to get back to Port Royal. Okay, let's go take a look at the cargo hold and explain that a little bit, how that works. All right, so I've set up my ship here for the start of the game. I've got my 3 bullion, and I've got my 3 food. Now, there are some rules for loading when you're loading goods into your ship. And very simply, you cannot place like on like. So if I were to land at if I was to use a card that says getting 3 gold in the morning, and I go ahead and get my 3 gold, I cannot put gold on top of gold. I can't stack it in the hold. I have to put it in an empty hold. If all of these holds are filled up, like so, and I end up getting my 3 gold in the morning, I cannot knock out like for like. So I can't dump the gold out of here to put in gold. I have to take a different commodity to remove and then place the new stuff in. And that's basically the rules for loading. Pretty simple, but can be a little bit confusing. All right, I hope I explained that well enough. And again, you'll see it in action when we play the game. All right. That's basically how the hold works. I don't really know if there's too much more to explain without just going right ahead and starting the game to show you how it all works. So I'm going to back the camera back out onto the main board. I am going to shuffle up my cards again, and so is Samuel Bellamy and Anne Bonny, and we're going to draw 3 cards each. So we're going to take a look at the 3 cards I get. We have to randomly determine who's going to be the captain. And so we'll do that. The captain gets to go first, and then we follow clockwise. And in this way I have the players in a descending order. So if I go first, then it will be Bonny and Bellamy. Bellamy goes first, then I'll go second, and then Bonny goes third. And as the game progresses, the captain on the first turn then passes the compass token to the player clockwise, and they become the captain for the next turn. And basically the captain will roll the 2 dice, and the captain will decide which one is going to be placed in the morning and which one is going to be placed in the afternoon. And he's going to do that depending on which cards he has. Of course, the objective of the game to be the first one to go around the island, get back to Port Royal, hopefully having a lot of treasure, a lot of gold, and you get points for where you are at the end of the game. All right, I'm going to back out, and I think we're going to decide who's first player, and we'll probably go ahead and do a round or 2. Okay, so let's decide who's going to go first, and we'll just take, it says determine randomly, so we'll just do it randomly. Anne Bonny's going to roll, and she gets a 2. Samuel gets a 5, and I get a 5. So Samuel and I will roll off. Samuel's going to roll a 3, and I roll a 4. So guess what? I get to be the captain. So I'm going to be starting the game. All right, and to do that, of course, being the captain, I get to roll the dice. So I'm going to roll the 2 dice. So I get a 5 and I get a 2. And now let's take a look. These are the 3 cards that I drew. And I'm going to be playing one of them face down in secret, so the other players don't know what I'm doing. They're going to be doing the same thing. And then we're going to reveal the cards one at a time and perform both actions on each card, then go to the next one, starting with me because I'm the captain for the first turn. All right, so my options are I can load food and I can move. I can also move in the morning, load food in the afternoon, or I can move forward in the morning and back in the afternoon. And so we take a look at the board to decide what we want to do. So for instance, if I want to load 5 food in the morning, I would put the 5 in the morning spot. If I wanted to move 2 spaces in the afternoon, I'd put the 2 spot. But that doesn't make a lot of sense because moving 2, I'm going to have to pay 3 food here. So probably wouldn't use that one. It might be better for me to load 2 food and move 5. So we look at the board. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'd have to pay 3 gold, but I'd be this far along and I have 3 gold. So let's take a look at my other options. I can move 5. And this is basically the same card in reverse, so it's the same thing. Now I can move 5 ahead and back 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I'd move 5 to have to pay 3 gold, and I have to go backwards 2 spaces and pay 2 food. That's not going to do me a lot of good. So what I think I'm going to do is I think I am going to play the card where I'm going to do 5 in the morning and 2 in the afternoon. And so I'm going to play this card in secret. So we're going to moving 5 in the morning is going to put me to here. I have to pay the 3 gold though. And then in the afternoon I'm going to be loading 2 more food. Maybe that's not a great option, but that's the one we're going to play. So we're going to place that face down on our area. And then we're going to keep the other 2 cards in hand. The other players are going to do the same thing. And then we're going to reveal the cards one at a time and go through the actions. And so we're doing 5 in the morning and 2 in the afternoon. Okay, so we're about to begin the race, and I've chosen my card. You know what it is already. So I'm going to move my ship 5 spaces ahead. So I'm red. I'm going to be going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now that I've landed in this space here that has a harbor, it's going to cost me 3 gold to go there. So let's go over to our hold and remove the 3 gold before we do our afternoon activity. Okay, so basically we've moved into a spot where it's going to cost us 3 gold, and we can pay it. There's something you do if you can't pay, and we'll get into that as we play. So I'm going to take my 3 gold, and I'm going to pay for that harbor spot. All right, that was my morning activity, and I have to finish off my card. And then for my afternoon, we had a 2, and so I'm going to collect 2 food. And so I go ahead and I get 2 food tokens, and I have to place them in my hold. And now, like I said in the rules, you cannot put like with like, so I can't place the food on top of that food. I have to pick an empty hold to do it, or knock another type of commodity out to put the food in. But I have lots of empty holds right now, so I'll just place the 2 food in here. Now when you're paying for a spot, for instance, just to let you know, if I needed to pay 2 food, for instance, on a spot, I can take 1 from here and 1 from here. You can mix and match that way, but not when you're loading your hold. So I'm basically done with my actions. This is going to go into a discard pile. I have 2 cards left in my hand. I'm going to draw 1 at the end of the turn. And up next is going to be Anne Bonny for her turn. So we're going to go back to the board and take a look and see what actions she's chosen for her first day on the race around Jamaica. All right, so what has she chosen? Well, she chose this card. So we have 5 in the morning and we have 2 in the afternoon. So she's going to collect 5 food and then move 2 in the afternoon. So let's go over to her hold. She's going to get 5 food, and then we'll go back to the board. She's going to move 2 spaces. All right, so way at the top here is we have Bonnie. She is now in the morning phase, and she's going to load 5 food into one of her cargo holds. So she's got her 5 food, and boom, no like with like, so she gets 5 food in there. That's pretty awesome. And now for the afternoon, she chose movement, so she's going to move 2 spaces. So let's go back to the board and move her 2 spaces. All right, so she's in the yellow ship, and 1, 2. She moves here, and we see 3 diamond white markers there, which means she has to pay 3 food to feed her crew on that space. So we're going to go back to her board, and we're going to have her pay the 3 food. All right, so she's going to take the 3 food she got from the initial start of the game out of the 1 hold, and she pays that back basically to her crew. They eat it. And that's going to be the end of her turn. So she's going to take her card. It's going to go in a discard pile. Up next, we are going to be doing Samuel Bellamy in the blue pirate ship. All right, so what did Samuel pick for his first day on the high seas around Jamaica? He picked this card, which is he's going to load up food in the morning, in the first part of the day, and gunpowder in the afternoon. So he's going to end up, because of the dice being at 5 and 2, he's going to load 5 food in the morning, 2 gunpowder in the afternoon, but he's not going to move anywhere. So he's just going to stay in Port Royal, but he's loading up getting ready to head out. So let's go over to his holds and load up 5 food and 2 gunpowder. All right, so Samuel stocking up for the journey. He's got 5 food he's going to place in an empty hold. And he's now the first one with gunpowder, represented by these little cannon tokens. And he's going to use another empty hold to put his 2 gunpowder in. All right, and that is basically the end of an entire round. We didn't have any fighting because nobody ran into each other. Otherwise, we would be having combat. I think I'm going to quickly do another round just so we can get a little more into the game. And so we now have to, at the end of your turn, everyone has to draw back up to 3 cards. And the captain is now going to move over to Bonnie. So she's going to roll the dice, and she's going to be first player for the next turn. So let's go ahead back to the main board and do that. All right, so we're back, and this time Bonnie is the captain. She's going to roll the 2 dice, and she gets a 6 and 4. So she's going to take a look at her cards, and she's going to come back and she's going to tell us which is going to be the morning activity and which is the afternoon. All right, so Bonnie has decided she's going to do 4 in the morning, 6 in the afternoon, and she's first player. So let's take a look at what she chose to do. And this is the card she chose. She is going to move ahead 4 spaces in the morning, and then she's going to load 6 food in the evening. Well, let's take a look and see how that's going to work for her. So I'm going to zoom down to the board, and we're going to have her move ahead 4. All right, so here she is sailing along 4 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4 goes past me, no problem. She lands on a harbor. Now this harbor wants her to pay 5 gold. I'm not going to go back to everyone's hold every time. We know Bonnie only has 3 gold. So what we do in this instance is she's going to pay whatever she can. So she has to empty out as much gold as possible, but she's not allowed to stay there because she couldn't pay the entire price. What happens now is you have to go backwards until you get to a space that you can afford. Well, she's going to move 1 space back here. She can't afford that. And she's going to move 1 space back here. And now free spaces, these don't cost anything. And there's also a treasure here. And so she gets to pick up a treasure. And you'll notice that I went, and going backwards, I hit this ship, which is me, and back to here. I don't have a 100% clear ruling on that, but she's not stopping in this spot. I think it's where you end your movement. If you end your movement in the same space as another pirate ship, there is a battle. But because she was going backwards to find a space she could afford, she's still considered to be moving. That's how I rule it. I think that's how the game is supposed to work. If it's incorrect, you can leave me a message or a comment, and we'll clarify that in a later episode. But because she's still moving, finding a spot that she can afford, she goes here. So she gets one of the treasures. So she gets to pick a treasure. Of course, we don't know what it is. It could be a cursed treasure. It could be a positive treasure. And I should mention, if it's one of the 4 special cards, it must be immediately revealed so everybody knows. So is Bonnie going to reveal the card? No, she's not. So we know that it's not one of the 4 special cards. So it was either a positive treasure or a cursed treasure. Anyway, that's what she did for the morning. So that her movement made her go forward, lose all her gold, and go back to the safe harbor of a pirate cove, and ended up getting a treasure for that. So that might have been a good move. Now, of course, in the afternoon, we have a 6, and she's going to load 6 food. So wow, she loaded 5 food the turn before, or 6. So let's go over to her hold. She's going to add another 6. All right, so up at the top, she has 5 food in hole number 3. She gets another 6 food. She'll just stick it in 1. So she's got a ton of food, but no gold and no gunpowder. Up next, we have Samuel Bellamy. Let's take a look, go back to the main board and see what he played. All right, so here's Samuel. He geared up and got all kinds of goodies sitting in Port Royal, but now it's time for him to play a card. And let's have a look and see what he's playing. He is playing movement. So he's going to move ahead 4, and then he's going to try to load 6 food. Wow, this could be interesting. He moves ahead 4. 1, 2, 3. Uh-oh. He's in the same spot now, as Annie and Bonnie. So there is going to be a battle. The battle is going to happen immediately before you pay for any resources you need to pay in a spot. So there's going to be a pirate battle between Anne and Samuel, and of course the attacker goes first. But we're going to go over to the hold of Samuel and take a look because he's going to do something. All right, so Samuel here loaded up a couple of gunpowder. And before you roll attack dice for the attacker or the defender, you must commit gunpowder as much as you want. He could commit 1, 2, or none in this case because he has to. He's going to commit both of the gunpowders to the battle. So that's going to add +2 now to his die roll. And if we just go up here, Anne has no gunpowder to add, so she's just going to be a straight up roll. So let's go back to the board, and we're going to conclude the battle. We're going to have Samuel rolling first as the attacker, Bonnie rolling second as the defender. All right, so the big battle happening here, and this is the combat die. And the combat die has a 2, a 4, 6, 8, 10, and this little blast symbol. Anybody rolling the blast symbol immediately wins the battle. That's just, it doesn't matter how much gunpowder or what the other player rolled. So if the attacker immediately rolls that, the defender doesn't even get to roll because that's an immediate win. All right, so Samuel rolling first as the attacker, he gets to add +2. So, wow, that's pretty bad. He rolls a 2, and 2 is 4. And now Bonnie rolls as the defender, and she rolls a 10. So this battle, despite the gunpowder from Samuel, went extremely poorly for him. All right, now there are 3 things the winner of the battle can do. The first thing the winner of the battle can do is steal one of the cargo hold's contents. All of it, just go in and grab it all. Second thing they can do is steal a treasure card from the player that lost, if they have a treasure card. And the third thing you can do is you can give somebody a treasure card. So for instance, if you have a cursed treasure and you want to get rid of it, giving the other player negative points, you can give them a treasure card. So Bonnie won the fight. Let's go and see what she wants to do. All right, so here's Samuel's cargo hold and here's Bonnie's. Bonnie's going to hang on to her treasure. She's not going to pass it off to Samuel. It could be cursed. Maybe she's playing a mind game. We have no idea. She can now steal one of the cargo holds, all the contents therein, if she wants to. And that is indeed what she is going to do. And she's going to go ahead and steal all the 3 gold out of Samuel's hold, and she's going to place it in her own hold. So by winning that battle, she just scooped 3 gold out of the hold of Samuel. All right, back to the board. Or actually, we don't need to go back to the board. That was the morning activity. So Samuel had a battle with Bonnie, lost, and now in the afternoon he gets to load 6 food. Wow, that's a ton of food. So he's just going to go ahead and he's going to load 6 food into his hold. And he might as well put it in the hold that he just lost all his gold from. So boom, he gets 6 food. He has a ton of food, but no gold. All right, that is it for Samuel. And of course, last is me. Let's go back to the main board and we're going to see what I'm going to do. All right, so which card did I pick? I actually picked this one, which was move ahead 4 spaces, and then we're going to run into a storm, and we're going to have to move backwards 6 spaces. So why did I do that? Well, let's have a look. So I move ahead 1, 2, 3, 4. I land on a pirate cove, and there's a treasure token here. So that's good for me. I get to draw a treasure card. And what is it? Well, it's a positive one. So it's going to give me +3 points at the end of the game. So we keep that face down so nobody knows except me what it is. And the unfortunate thing now is we have to go backwards 6 spaces. All right. Let's see how that's going to work. Let's tilt the camera a little bit more. And I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I end my turn here behind the other 2 players. And this space, I have to pay 2 food. Well, I have 5 food, so I have to pay 2 of it. I'm going to take the 2 out of the hold that I got in the earlier turn. And that concludes that round. So again, we're going to each draw up to 3 cards, discard the card we just played. And the first player is going to now move to Samuel. He's going to be rolling the dice and being first player. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed that. That's how you play Jamaica. And of course, I'm going to do a complete playthrough. We're going to see who gets back to Port Royal first, and hopefully it will be me, and who has the most points. And points are scored by adding up your treasure cards if they're positive, or subtracting negative if they're cursed. And gold bullion also counts as points, so you want to head into Port Royal with a whole pile of gold on your ship. And there are points. I don't know if we can see them too clearly, but the first one to Port Royal, of course, is going to get 15 points. If you're in this spot, the end of the round, you'll have 10, 9, and you go down, down until you get to the skunk line, I call it, over here. If you're past the skunk line, you're minus 5 points. All right, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Join me next time for the continuation of Jamaica. We're doing a 3-player race game here, and I will do it until the end. All right, thanks for watching, and join me next time.